Hi, welcome back. So happy to have you here again. I'm Ivory LaNoue, and today's topic is I Choose Light. First, I want to say hello to my listeners in Attica, Greece. That's a country I had a wonderful time in on a trip many years ago, but still remember so fondly, especially your area. It was just beautiful. Let's jump into this today. My angels are the ones who told me that this topic would be one that needs to be discussed right now. It's been relevant in my life more and more. I mean, through life, definitely, but more and more of late as the world becomes just a little more chaotic, more uncertain. And it's really about how to handle all of this to keep your light, keep shining your light, to keep yourself high frequency. And I'm not going to go into ways to do that. There's plenty of other episodes I've done on that topic, but more about how to cope with this, things that you can try, put into practice just to feel better about yourself and the world, about your life. And it really does start with you. It starts and finishes with you because all of this does come from within. But I think that sort of focusing on yourself and your own life is a really great place to start with this. Focus on the good things, the blessings you have in life, and try to let go of the things that are not perfect. Well, they're never perfect. Things that are not just as you'd like them to be, things maybe you're lacking from your life. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus, just get your mind right back onto the things that you have in life. Sometimes it's basics, which are not basics for millions of people around the world, such as a safe home to live in, a roof over your head, a car to drive, good food to eat, family and friends who love you. That is not things we should take for granted because we're very blessed to have those basic things in life. So looking at your life differently and just figuring out things are not so bad. I mean, I think we can easily slide into an outlook of everything that gets more negative. If we watch a lot of news, it definitely is easy to do that. If you hang around with people who have a negative view of life, their life, the world, you will begin to develop a more negative view yourself. So it's always been, you'll be the most influenced by the people you spend the most time around. So they say it's like the 5 people you spend the most time around influence you the most. So something to think about. Another reason why building a spiritual tribe is so important. It'd be nice to have those people who are influencing you heavily be people who are spiritual and a little further on the path than you are, or a lot further if possible, because they've been through all of this. And a lot of these things I'm going to talk about today, they've already figured out. They've already been through, figured out a way to deal with it. And you'll probably see and feel a difference in them from the other people in your life, perhaps, that are not yet on the path. Your view of the world, I think, is very important. It's easy to, again, watch the news and think everything's going to hell. It is not. This is a difficult time in history, but it's not the most difficult. It is not the worst time in history. It is challenging, to be sure. But within a challenge is room for change and room for growth, both as people and then as a people of the planet. And it is a goal of light workers to uplift humanity. I like to remind myself when I'm having a rough day, and I have them, make no mistake, I have them. I remind myself, I kind of give myself a pep talk, like, this is the reason you're here. Ivory, this is the reason you're here in this lifetime, is to help uplift people, to help them through this difficult time. I'm not going to bail out on that task and that honor by sinking down into misery and fear and or hatred and anxiety or any other low frequency emotion. I let myself feel them briefly because I'm human and we have our feelings, but I'm not going to live in those states. So it's a conscious effort, and it doesn't matter who's around you as much as how you are consciously paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your reactions. And we're going to talk about all of that today. It is always about that paying conscious attention to things instead of going on autopilot through life. And sometimes we do that. It's going to happen. But if the majority of time we're living consciously, then we start experiencing change. And I know one of the things that happened for me is I used to have a lot of anxiety. I have anxiety. Like I used to be a very anxious person, and I actually have OCD, which is more anxiety. But over the years, it's very rare that I feel a lot of anxiety now. And when I feel it, I consciously do some deep breathing, which forces the body to relax, where you take a deep breath in through the nose, hold it a couple of seconds, and then let it out through the mouth in a long, slow hiss like this. Let it go as long as you can. 10 of those will force your body and your mind to relax. And I learned that when I was working at a psychiatric hospital, and it's worked for myself and many other people since then. So I can tell when I'm getting anxious, and I shut that down. The majority of the time, I realized some years back that I feel serene most of the time. I think the reason I didn't feel so serene before that is because there were people in my life who were so toxic that I was in constant fight or flight mode. I either feared for my life, or I felt distrust. I felt nervous. There was a lot of reason to feel that way, and I've eliminated that from my life. And now I feel a very deep sense of serenity, which I cherish. That is very important to me because it helps me stay centered, grounded. How could I help others with their spiritual journey if I'm not grounded myself? And it's rare that I'm pulled off of that. It happened once recently, and it takes a lot to pull me off of that. But I kind of get off by myself and get grounded, do my breathing, ask the angels to come and help me, and just really focus on tuning in, getting grounded, rooting in again, because I don't like feeling like that. Who does? Who enjoys feeling discombobulated or anxious? It doesn't feel nice. So again, you just have to kind of police yourself as to how you're feeling, how you're doing, and catch it early really helps a lot. One of the things I think is really important is changing how we react to things. If someone is angry with you, and I'm going to credit Dr. Penny, if you're listening, he was the medical director of the psychiatric hospital where I worked many years ago. And he taught me a lot of things. And one of them was, if someone is escalating, if they're getting angry, upset, then you get quieter and more calm. And I learned how to have a flat affect, which means no expression whatsoever. I'm doing it right now. If you're watching me on YouTube, no expression. And I talk really softly like this. And I still do this in the rare occasion people get escalated with me. The worst thing we can do in any situation is get escalated back. That's how wars happen, whether it's wars between people, cities, countries, states, it doesn't matter. Anger escalates anger. So we want to react in a way that cuts that right down, cuts it off, calms it down, and it works almost every time. So that's something you can consciously do if you're having a lot of conflict in your life. Do not let it goad you into acting the same way they are. Kind of make it your automatic default mode when someone is very upset around you. You want to listen, tell me what's going on. Why do you feel the way you do? You want to repeat it back to them. I hear you saying that you're upset because, and if they say, yes, that's it. Okay. Tell me more. People need to feel heard. You need to feel heard. I'm not saying you should give this and not get it, but you can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do. So everything you do that's a healthier way to act or react helps other people see that there's a different way. Sometimes you're actually showing them, many times through your actions, a different way to go about life that they may not have been raised with or ever experienced before. And so just understand how important this is. For you want peace in the world? Well, let's start with peace in our lives, in our individual lives, peace in our hearts. I'm not interested in a bunch of drama. I really detest it. When people are upset, I see a lot of grieving people. And of course, I want to calm them. I want to help them. That's not the same thing as somebody being angry. Grieving is a natural response. And even sometimes there's reason for people to be angry, but it's not good for them to stay angry, to go about life angry. That's a low frequency emotion, and it begets more violence. So violence and anger, we don't want that, right? We want to change things up. So this is just going a little deeper here. How do you handle stress? What are your coping mechanisms? Something, again, I learned working in mental health about coping mechanisms, and addictions are about coping mechanisms. People have addictions because they don't know how to cope with a feeling, an emotion. Let's say they feel lonely, and so they eat. They feel lonely, so they have a sex addiction. They feel lonely, so they do drugs or they drink alcohol. There are so many different addictions and now one of the biggest ones in the entire world is tech addiction, being addicted to our smartphones, our computers. It's all things to be mindful of, because anything that dominates your life that you do so much of, it's interfering with getting other things done, or other people bring it to your attention, then you know that things have gone out of balance and you're coping with this activity. So I like to have people make a list of 3 to 5 things that they enjoy doing that they could do instead that are healthier. For me, one of those things is going in for a walk around my favorite state park, or I'll go work out at the fitness center. It can also definitely be any time of the day and night. I would go into my music room and play one of my instruments for hours on end. It always is therapy for me. I can call up some friends and arrange an activity. And even if it's not for that day, they'll talk with me. We can have a conversation and I feel better, and set something up to get together. So you have something to look forward to. Anything. I mean, for me, reading is a big one. I look forward to reading every day. I've been reading. I have been a bookworm since I was 2 years old, and I don't see it stopping. I read every day. And I look forward to that time. That's something that I like ending my day with, is reading a book that I enjoy. So, only you can make up your list. But then once you have that list of 3 to 5 things, I want you to put it on a little piece of paper. It can be a small one like this that you put on your refrigerator with magnet, tape one to your bathroom mirror, and then put one in your wallet or in your purse. Carry it with you, because you never know when those emotions will raise their head. And you're like, the first thing I want you to do is pull out that list or go into the room where it is and look at it. Pick one of those things and do it. Over time, you will begin to automatically choose one of those activities instead of something that you've been doing too much of. I hate to use the word addiction, but let's say you're doing it too much, something you've been doing too much that's more detrimental. So if one of them can involve exercise of some kind, that's always good for, the endorphins and the feel good chemicals in the body. One of them should be something you can do with other people, and the rest should be things you do solo, so that you're not restrained by having someone else available for you. And again, just keep them handy and get into the habit of pulling that out and doing that. And one I found very effective to help my clients break cycles like that is to say, it's not that you, let's say that you really enjoy playing games on your computer. You're a gamer. You don't have to give that up, But most gamers, not all, there could be some gamers out there who hear me and take a different view of this, and that's okay. But most gamers seem to be knowing that they're spending a lot of time gaming, and they know there's other things they should be doing and would like to be doing. So my thing is, you take that list out and you tell yourself, I'm going to do 30 minutes of this, one of these activities on the list, then I can do my gaming or whatever it is that you're trying to cut down on. Whatever it is you've been doing that's not healthy for you to cope with feelings you don't like. So you earn it. You earn it by doing something you wanted to do. And sometimes a lot of people put on that list things like, I want to maintain my car. I want to get the housework done. I want to write my book. And I keep procrastinating, and I'm using this to procrastinate. It's for you to decide what you want to get done, what you want to do more of with your life. I've had so many people say, Ivory, it's like you're doing enough things for 3 people. How do you get all this done? It's because of this tool. I don't let myself do certain things that I know can be habit forming, like playing games on my phone, unless I first have done something like an hour for me, usually of like working on a book or working on a project, getting something done around the house. I just sort of make myself earn it. And it's a nice way. Then you can have guilt-free time with this pleasure that you like, and it won't be a coping mechanism. It'll just be a hobby, which is fine. The next thing is sort of just managing your moods and feelings. And a lot of people get really stuck on the fact that they have moods and feelings, but they're so ephemeral. They come and they go like weather. You know, however you feel, that's going to change. If you have clinical depression, if you have you've been diagnosed with anxiety, that's something to look at with a professional. But for most people, those things come and go. And it's okay to just realize this isn't going to last forever. It's sort of like when you get a cold, you don't like it, but you know it's going to pass. It's going to make its way out of your life just like it snuck in. So kind of ride with it, try to pull yourself out of it using your list of activities, trying to get out and break the cycle in some way, and allowing yourself the kind of honoring yourself, really, your feelings, the emotions you have, by just letting yourself feel them a bit too. It's okay. They're not going to hurt you. I have talked about a whole show about this once on divine time, which means letting things happen when they're meant to. We can really expend so much energy and time trying to make things happen, worrying about why hasn't that happened. And I think the biggest one I see people for is either finding their life purpose or finding love in their life, romantic love. You have to let it unfold. You need to be open to it. You need to, especially if you're looking for love, you need to have the qualities you're looking for in a partner. You need to be receptive to that relationship so that you can attract it in. And that is true for anything you want, really. But if you're trying to force your way to your next stage of your life purpose, it won't work. And I'm here to tell you, I have been frustrated. I know very well what it feels like to know that there's something you're supposed to be doing with your gifts or spiritually and not knowing exactly what that is. It doesn't matter. I was born with certain gifts. That doesn't mean I thought I was supposed to use them professionally. It's been a journey for me too, and definitely times I felt lost and confused. But I've learned you can't make yourself find that life purpose. You know, the best thing you can do is just stay open, keep your third eye open, stay open, receptive, tune into your angels, listen to their guidance, watch for their guidance. And that is true. It's not just true for finding your life purpose. It is true for finding love. They will guide you. I've been thinking about this. I've had so many astonishing experiences in my journey of dating in recent years that the angels have brought about that I thought it would be interesting to talk about that, because maybe that's something some of you would find of use. It's been very helpful. So letting things unfold in the time they're meant to. You can't force things to happen. So just relax about it. Go on, keep working on yourself, keep going on your journey, learning things, getting to know people, building your spiritual tribe, exploring things you feel pulled to, you're interested in or passionate about. Those are all ways you are led on your journey. So you can relax more. The next thing would be working on our self-esteem. There's so many people out there, and I find it, there's some social media now that's become so toxic. I feel instantly physically ill, like I'm going to be sick if I go to it, because there's a lot of mean, nasty, very mean comments happening there on a grand scale. And I'm not going to name what that is, because you have either found it yourself or maybe it doesn't bother you. I don't want to affect your view of things, but I will say, when things are really toxic for you, it's affecting you. And I was nervous. I remember telling my daughter that I want to do some videos. I want to do some reels about angels, but people are so awful. They can be so awful on social media with their comments. And she's like, don't read them. I'm like, don't read them? She's, yeah, I'll read them for you. And if there's something really great and important, I'll tell you what it is, because I am sensitive to the nasty emotions behind people being nasty. But we have to also keep this in mind. I saw this quote again recently, and I have to share it with all of you. And the quote is, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't seek advice from. And that was Melissa Bolton who said that. And I think that is really important. So if some stranger tells you they think you look ugly, there's a million reasons why somebody would say something ugly to you. And I talked myself about this too. This comes for a lot of things. I've had a few people, not very many at all, but a few people say some really nasty things to me here on my YouTube channel, where I post this podcast. But I've just responded to them very calmly, and I've even answered some of what they very nastily asked about. And then I usually block them, because if they have bad energy, it affects the whole community. If somebody's going to be ugly, I don't want them in a group that I'm in charge of. What would that say about us as a group, as a community? It's not healthy to have somebody who feels perfectly fine about saying ugly things to people, purposely trying to be hurtful, or judging. That's something else. We as humans do a lot of judging, and if you must do it, try to keep it internal and don't speak it. It can be so painful for people, because we don't know everything going on in their life. We don't know what it's like to live in their shoes. We might think we do, but we really don't. And so we don't get to judge out loud about how someone's parenting, or how their marriage is, or who they married, or anything they choose. That's their choices about their life. Now, there's exceptions to that, and I think common sense will guide you on that. Someone's being seriously hurt, someone's life is in danger, well, yeah, please help them. But judging is a very negative thing to do, because it's like saying, I'm better than you. I know how to live your life better than you do. Yeah, that's not something anybody wants. So get your self-esteem from people that you would go to for advice. Ask your close friends who love you. Ask your closest family members, hey, do you think I do this? Or, hey, what do you see in me that needs to be worked on? If they will tell you honestly and lovingly, constructive criticism, then that's helpful. But just people saying mean things to you, those people don't have your best interest at heart, or they wouldn't talk to you that way. So, don't let your self-esteem be created or damaged by a nasty person or persons. It can be really hard though, and if you're really sensitive empath like I am, I can be very strongly affected by people's energy. So when someone has nastiness behind what they're doing or saying, it's just really makes me physically ill. I don't want to be around that, and so I don't. I'm conscious of what really bothers me and I avoid it. And if I feel like I must go around that, then I'm going to limit my time. And I have safety valves that if this happens, I'm leaving, and I'm going to do it kindly. I'm going to do it with love, but I'm going to leave because I know when I've had all I can take. So all of us have these places within us, and for each of us, it's different. But I think seeing the beauty in your life, in you, in the things around you, in nature, in the people, thinking, what is the best possible reason that someone might have said something to you if you're not sure what they meant? Try to think about what's the very most kind reason that they might have asked that. And most of the time, you'll find out that's exactly what they meant. It's our brains, it's our fears, it's the pieces of us that still live in low self-esteem that come up with the worst case things. So something to just kind of help you approach things differently. I strongly suggest taking a stroll in your yard. And if you live in an urban area where you don't have a lot of nature around you, go to some nature and spend some time just appreciating, looking at, literally smelling the flowers. I have a lot of flowers in my yard in the summer and spring. I'm looking forward to that because I do like to take a stroll around my yard and smell the roses. And I cut some and give them to people when I'm going places. And I like to sit in my backyard and watch the birds and the trees. And I like to see the weather kind of roll past the valley below my house. And there's a lot of things. I like to watch the hawks flying in the air behind my house. There's many things that I enjoy that I can just sit and watch the sunlight and the leaves for a little bit and feel a lot better. This is a beautiful planet we live in. This is a beautiful place. We're so lucky to be in this place. And there's so much beauty in the people of this planet. And I think the more we focus on looking at the good in people, and not just those we already know and love and care about, but people as a whole, there's great healing for all of us within. There's great peace ahead for that. And there's great understanding and compassion that we can have for people everywhere. This is something that's going to really make a difference for all people everywhere, to come to a place where we automatically see the beauty instead of going for the ugliness, if we feel the good instead of looking for the bad. And if we learn to master ourselves better and stay in a place of more serenity, more overall peace on all levels, it'll be easier to feel happy. It'll be easier to feel hope for yourself, for the future, for mankind, for many different things that a lot of people are lately feeling quite hopeless about. And I feel sad about it. So I understand why you might feel that way. And like I said, I'm only human. There's times I feel it too. So hopefully some of these things you can latch on to and start kind of climbing a rope out of that and up into a place where the sun is bright and things are beautiful, and you're feeling a little more calm and centered within yourself, that everything's going to be okay. We don't know how yet, but I will tell you, my angels repeatedly assure me we're going to be okay. So there's many days I don't see how, but I trust them. They've been right all along the way through my life. I have no reason to stop trusting them now. And remember, every one of you has a team of angels and guides with you too, and they're all talking to you. They hear every word you say. They know your fears. They know your hopes and dreams, and they want to help you. And all of these things are things the angels have helped me discover. So I just wanted to share this with you, and hopefully it helps you choose light and feel happier and feel more hope and joy. And that is my wish. It's certainly the wish of your angels too. Tune in next Sunday. I'll be talking about the Cherubim, which is an order of angels, and I'll be starting that once a month. A talk about different orders of the Cherubim, their history, what they look like, what they do. It's going to be very interesting. You might be thinking I'm talking about cherubs, those little chubby angel-looking things with wings. No, that's not it. So cherubim. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.